Good morning. Yep, it's the next day. Once again, we got off to a bit of a rocky start. And thanks for joining me again. I found a perfect spot, great shade, beautiful view. Had grass that I could actually stake my tarp, my pegs into because this is really rocky ground here. Pulled some stuff out of the truck, started putting up the shower tent, and then realized, oh crap, Sheila, you bought a refrigerator. You need to see if your cord will reach to the electrical outlet. And it didn't. Okay. So I had to throw all the crap back in the truck and find another spot. Now, I like this spot. It doesn't have the shade that the other one had, but my electrical cord does reach the outlet. And right here under the trees, there seems to be natural shade. As far as I can see, I mean, it's here this morning. Let's hope it's here this afternoon. But I might have got lucky with that. Because you can't just put tarps up around your setup to keep the sun out. Because then you'll also block your breeze. So I'm glad I found this. Right now there's a breeze blowing and I'm just I'm just happy. Okay. I didn't get to use the fire last night because we had a quick thunderstorm and some wind. And I was a little concerned about my truck awning because it's the first time I used it. But it did hold up. But then the dog had a mishap. You know, he didn't like the rattling of the tarps, and he didn't like the grumbling of the thunderstorm. So he had a meltdown, and he was clawing to get into the truck. So we ended up getting in the truck and staying there until 2:30 this morning, and everything seemed to be fine. So we got out the truck, got in our tent cot, and he was fine. But yeah. In the meantime, I got all this food that I haven't cooked that I probably need to get cooked today. So I'm going to do a lot of eating today. So let's get started. Let's eat something. Nothing like some cheesy eggs. Now, let's give the dog his due. Okay, I'll see you all after breakfast. I thought I'd give you a quick look at how the truck awning is deployed. I'm not sure I can do justice because it's really sunny out here and the shading is terrible. And I'm sure I'm not moving, that well either. I'm sure I'm bouncing around here. But I'm really happy with the way it turned out. Very happy. This is the first time you've seen me use the truck awning. And you see I have the tent cot tucked under here. Of course, my chair and stuff is over in what I'm calling the studio relax area, okay? Um, and there's my little fridge. There's certain things you're supposed to do and not do with this thing. You're not supposed to leave it in the sun. You're not supposed to unplug it before you turn it off. I did all those things multiple times, and I am still amazed that it keeps things cold. Later on, when things cool down and the sun calms down, I'm going to show you how much stuff I got crammed into this refrigerator. You've all seen my shower setup, and you know how much I love this bedside commode. Hands down better than any quote-unquote camping toilet on the market. Comfortable and height adjustable. If I ever did an Amazon link, it would be for this because I think everybody should have one. And so just my basic stuff. And of course I'm using my backpacking shower system again. A tub of soapy water and some water bottles with a shower nozzle to rinse off with. So this is what, let me try to get this, what the little refrigerator looks like. And as you can see, it's chocked full of stuff. Now I've already taken 2 thin New York strips out, a small bottle of eggs, some bacon. What else did I take? What else did I use in here? What else did I eat today? I can't remember what else. But let me show you what's in this refrigerator. Oh, door won't stay open. See if I can get the door to stay open. Okay. Blue cheese, what's left of my macaroni tuna salad, some gravy that's supposed to go on tonight's dinner of, I think you call these things, what do you call these things? The hamburger chopped, that's like chopped steak. I forgot what they're called, but I have gravy for them. My coffee cream, some baked beans, some butter and some onions, some broccoli and cauliflower. That's what the blue chip cheese dip is for. Some watermelon, sausage that's supposed to go with my waffles in the morning, a chunk of cheese, I like cheese, and some hamburgers. Now, that's quite a bit of stuff, okay? Now, I noticed everything stayed colder when it was plugged in at home. It was 90 odd degrees outside today, and everything stayed chilled. But at home, it stayed cold. So I would call this a win. If it lasts a minute, I'd be really happy because I enjoyed having the refrigerator. And it has a plug so that I can plug it into the cigarette lighter in the car when I'm transporting it so it doesn't lose its coolness. I paid $49 for it at Home Goods, and I'll keep you posted as to how long it lasts me. So, that's my new toy for this trip. This was so much easier and lighter than lugging a cooler, that normally I fill with ice and frozen water bottles to keep the ice as long as I can. It stopped things from getting soggy. All I did was tape the door shut and carry it downstairs and plug it into the truck. Don't be surprised if you see more of this critter. Well, guys, I found a nice shady spot on my spot, and I thought, let's use it. Um, Camping is not always easy. It's not always as cut and dried as people make them look like on YouTube, especially with bushcrafters and people who show you their glamping setups. I mean, I don't even have a glamping setup anymore. I have pretty much a simple setup, and it's still work. Okay, it's still work. Just finding trees to tie off to are almost impossible unless you're out in the real woods, and staking things like tent poles is really not that easy for one person to do, and even harder when you're trying to find a piece of ground that doesn't have rock in it. So it's not always easy, and if it's not equipment that you have to deal with, then it's weather or a dog. Um, but some of the things that make it worthwhile is like this. Right now, it is just a nice little breeze blowing through. I'm afraid that, my shading is going to change on you because, the shade is changing. But it's this, for me, that makes some of those things that can be extremely frustrating worthwhile. So, I'm having such a good moment and the breeze feels so good, and at least I'm not dripping sweat on camera, that I decided let's go ahead and do the Amazon video. Oh my goodness, I have gotten so many comments and questions from viewers that I don't know where to begin. The first thing I can say is there are some videos, of course I have not organized anything in my video list, so I'm sorry about that. But there are some videos that are labeled that tells you that, I think there's one called the top 5 things I love and 5 things I hate about Amazon. I think there was one labeled, and if I can find them, I will put them in the description box, the links. Helpful things for the mature Amazonian, and just things like that. Amazon has actually turned into a really great place to work these days. And I think, as I said in one of my past videos, it probably wasn't their choice, but it was the reality of what they had to do until they get enough robots to replace us all. So yeah, it has become a very decent place to work. I know my stress level is gone, you know. So I'll go over some things. I guess I should have wrote this down, but I didn't. Okay, so I'll probably hopscotch, but I'll try to remember the questions that I was asked and directly answer those. Someone asked me about VTO, VET, PTO, and UPT. UPT is unpaid time off. And Amazon gives you 20 hours every quarter. So every 3 months you get 20 hours. You can use unpaid time anytime you want to. But let's say you decide to leave work early. And let's say you decide to leave work a half an hour early. They're going to use an hour of that time. Let's say you come to work and you're late getting to work. Now they give you a 5-minute grace period. But for that 6th minute, unless you have some personal time you can cover that minute with, they're going to take a whole hour of UPT. So UPT is one of those things you want to be very careful about, because if you run out, Amazon's feeling is, okay, you have no UPT. The next time you have an incident, you don't have anything to cover you, so we might as well just fire you now. Now, sometimes you can work things out, and for what I understand, once a year, if you run out of UPT, HR will make you sign a letter saying you will never do it again, and you better not. But that is what I understand actually happens if you run out. You don't just get fired the first time you ever run out unless you've been a problem. They will kind of give you another chance, but they'll never give you another chance after that. So be very careful with your UPT, unpaid time. VTO is voluntary time off. That's the thing that everybody signs up for as soon as they get to work, hoping they can go home early. Voluntary time off is when Amazon decides they don't need as many people as they have today, and they start offering people the opportunity to go home. And you can go home. You don't get paid for it. It doesn't come out of your time, but you get to go home. Amazon is the only job I've ever had that the moment I walk in the door, I have hopes of going home. And I sign up for VTO on the computer. So that's what VTO is, voluntary time off, and it's unpaid. Let's see, PTO, personal time off. Personal time off is something you do get paid for. You get 48 hours a year. And they give it to you like an hour a week or 45 minutes a week, however they got to do it to stretch it, And usually by May, you've gotten your 48 hours. So if you have used all your time and May rolls around and you go, okay, well, they'll probably start giving me some more. Nope. May is when everybody has gotten their 48 hours of personal time. So, and it's paid. So something to keep in mind. What's the other one? UPT, PTO, voluntary extra time, VET. Now, on this channel, I always call it mandatory extra time. But it's called, well, okay, it is. It's mandatory overtime is actually called mandatory extra time, MET. Okay, that's just a polite way of saying mandatory overtime. So that's why I always call it that. But it's actually MET. And it's mandatory. About the only thing you can use to get out of mandatory overtime is your unpaid time, UPT. I don't think anything else can be used to get out of mandatory overtime. If I'm wrong, then it might also be personal time, but I haven't had personal time in so long. I got like, 11 minutes? I'm not even sure, okay? So, but I am telling you what I do know. Wait a minute, it's hot. Let me roll this hair back up. And see, there's one more thing. Voluntary overtime, mandatory overtime, UPT, personal time, vacation time. And I'm glad I waited to make this video because typically vacation time had to be scheduled 24 hours in advance. It has always been that way. But recently, Amazon has given managers the authority to okay vacation time the same day you ask for it. That's how I was able to get off of work early so I could get ready for this trip. I went to my manager and I said, can I use some of my vacation time to go home and get ready for a camping trip? She goes, how much time do you want, Sheila? I said, 4 hours. She goes, okay. Whereas before, that was not allowed. So Amazon is trying to make some concessions to keep people happy because in all honesty, do you really want to have to fire people because they ran out of UPT, but yet they had 25 hours of vacation time, but they didn't know their emergency was going to happen 24 hours in advance. And since they don't have a lot of UPT, the vacation time is all they have. There comes a point where you go, okay, you know what, fine. We'll let them use whatever they need to use, but they better not run out of UPT. And so that's where we are now. In my facility, you can now use your vacation time at the last minute. Now, can I try to get vacation time the day I'm supposed to come to work before I've gotten there? I don't know whether or not that'll be okay. But let's say I show up for work and go, can I go home? I have enough time to cover it. That they will okay. Okay, so you understand how the old vacation time worked and how the new vacation time works. Now, for a lot of I call us the Gray Brigade who has invaded Amazon because Amazon's face is changing. Holy smoke, if I base it on my facility, the face of Amazon is changing. Um, it depends on what type of work life you had before you came to Amazon, what type of physical shape you're in. You know, Amazon is not a hard job. What it is a continuous job. When I first started, I found lifting 49 pounds almost undoable because I wasn't used to heavy lifting. I mean, remember, I've been a professional housekeeper. I mean, a feather duster and a vacuum cleaner. And they make lightweight vacuum cleaners now. So, you know, for me to lift 49 pounds in the packing department, I mean, I felt like slave labor. Was it really? No, but that's what it felt like to me. So it really depends on where you come from when you come to Amazon. Now, does it feel like slave labor now? No, because I'm used to it. You know, and in all honesty, if I have to lift something 49 pounds, I lift it from my cage to my table, which is like a second and a half. Okay, maybe I shouldn't have been complaining, but maybe I was just unhappy that I was in the packing department when I was supposed to be in the quality control. So a lot of that has a lot to do with how you feel about Amazon. Whew, sorry, bugs. Um, People always say you're micromanaged. Okay, for me, I owned my own business. I made my own schedule. You know, I cut deals with my clients, and once the deal was cut, nobody bothered anybody again because I upheld my end and they upheld their end. From what I understand, people who work at regular jobs can't be trusted to do that, okay? And they're always looking for a way to get out of work. I hate to say it that way, but that does seem to be the consensus of everybody I know who has a regular job. They're always trying to figure out a way to get out of work, which I guess is the reason why Amazon feels it necessary to keep an eye on you. Now, the way Amazon keeps an eye on you is if you appear not to be productive for about 15 minutes, the computer will throw a flag up. And someone asked me how did they do that, so I asked the PA, and she said basically your station and your face will show up on their computer. So that means they got to stop what they're doing and do a drive-by to your station to see what's going on. And I've seen this happen. So, you know, I believe maybe it's not quite the mug shot that she said, but I remember I had been gone and something took 15 minutes. I was looking for something. I had to go 5 lines down to get it. Then I had the boxes and I had to lug them back. And this is during the really bad time when nothing was right. And I know it probably took me 15 minutes. And I get back to my station and I see my PA, you know, driving by. She goes, "Oh, there you are." And I'm thinking, well, how did she know I was gone? The computer. Okay? So basically, here's the deal. If something is going to take you more than 15 minutes, just let them know. If I need to go to HR because going to my lunch hour is undoable, I just stop what I'm doing. I go up to the PAs and say, I got to go to HR. And they go, okay. So if I'm gone 15 minutes and they throw my face up on the screen, they can type in HR. You know, or if you're going to have a moment at the bathroom and you know you're going to be there a moment, just let the PAs know before you go, look, I got to go to the bathroom. It's going to be a moment. They'll go, okay. And if the computer throws your face up on the screen, they go, bathroom. It's as simple as that. You can call it being tracked, but I call it they pay you to work. And if you're not working, they kind of got a right to ask you why you're not. You don't have to ask permission to go to HR. You don't have to ask permission to go to the bathroom. All you have to do is inform someone where you're going to be if it's going to be more than 10 or 15 minutes, which I consider reasonable. Now, if you don't think that's reasonable, then maybe you need way more freedom, okay, than most people, and you should think about starting your own business, okay? But let me tell you something. Even when you start your own business, people pay you, and they kind of want to see some results for what they pay you. So you're still not going to have quite as much freedom. And at that point, you have to have, what's the word I want to say? Well, I'll just say you need to be trustworthy and you need to be someone that people feel like they can trust you to do the job without them watching over you. If you're not that person, then you need to find a job where they will watch over you just to make sure you keep working. Okay. See what else? Oh Lord, we got new equipment. We got finger scanners. Now, if there is such a thing as a professional boxer, having a finger scanner will make you happy. Okay, it will make you feel like a professional boxer because we always had two scanners, one that sat on a desk. That means if you took a small package out of your cage, you slide it under the scanner, it would go beep, it would register, you throw it on your table. Then we had a handheld scanner for those big packages that might go in a box bigger than they are. You don't have room on your table for both of those things. So something you're not sure about, you scan it while it's in the cage, and if it says you need a box, you go ahead and build the box, and then you put it into the box. The problem is, with the handheld scanner, it would always lose its connection. So let's say you sat it on a table, maybe a little rougher than you should have. It would go bloop, 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 and it would be 5 seconds before you can use it again. Now, when you are a company that time is of the essence, everything needs to be done in a timely manner. And keep in mind, in the real world, a minute has 60 seconds. In Amazon's world, a minute only has 45 seconds. So when you first start and you feel like you're always behind and you're always running, because you are, until you get used to what their time is. So if your time, if Amazon's time is shorter than everyone else's, 5 seconds to wait for a hand scanner to get itself together is really frustrating and unproductive. So they finally fixed that with finger scanners that don't seem to lose connection, and you don't have to put it down, pick it up, put it down, pick it up. All that stuff takes time because, I'm kind of analytical. So, I understand the time management thing. The finger scanner is like the best thing Amazon could have ever come up with. Now, if you're somebody who's at Amazon because you're just putting some stuff in a box so you can get a paycheck, you're going to hate that finger scanner because I guarantee you the rates are going to go up. Because they should, because they are so efficient. There is no way in hell you can't pack better and faster and more efficiently than you did when you had the handheld scanner. If you are somebody like me who goes, look, I want to do a good job, but you got to at least give me the tools to do it. For me, that finger scanner is a godsend. I'm like, beep, 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 and it never loses connection. Oh my God, I love this thing. Okay, I just love this thing. So, it was good to get some new equipment because I've been fussing about the equipment for a minute. And the water tape machines. That water tape that Amazon uses on your packages that say Prime and stuff, that is some of the best tape I've ever seen in my life. But the machine that dispenses it is a piece of crap. So now the company that provides those machines for Amazon, we have a representative on duty, okay, every day now. So if there's a problem with your taper, give it to him. He'll bring you a new one while he fixes that. Because the tape machines have become a problem during the pandemic. So I'm glad to see they've addressed that. Let's see. Oh, I said something about rate. Let's talk about that again. An anonymous source, an anonymous source told me that unless you pack less than 60 boxes an hour, then you are not on Amazon's radar. If you pack less than 60 boxes an hour, then you are on the PA's radar and they will come talk to you. So what that tells me is 60 boxes an hour is acceptable to Amazon right now. Now remember, I always told you that 80 boxes an hour was ridiculous and I wasn't going to pay attention to it. I did somewhere between 63 and 70. But now, and I always said, nobody ever said nothing to me about my rate. Now I know why. Because Amazon doesn't want to make it an issue unless you're packing under 60 boxes an hour. So if you are the gray brigade and you're worried about can you keep up, sweetheart, you can do 60 boxes an hour without, I mean, I'm not going to say you're not going to break a sweat, but you're not going to be anywhere stressed as you would be trying to do 80 boxes an hour. It's so much, even on my worst day and all my shit break down, okay? And I got to have a moment at the bathroom and I need HR to fix some shit. I can still do 60 boxes an hour. And I'm not a super packer, but I do come to work to try to do my job, okay? And plus, the busier you stay, the quicker those damn 10 hours go. So the last thing I want to talk about, ending with the 10 hours, is I looked into flex because I thought it was something I might want to try. And I got enough information that I feel like I can actually kind of tell you what it's about. Although I did decide not to do it, but I thought I would share the information I learned. Now, when I say flex, I don't mean drivers. I mean someone who works at a fulfillment or warehouse facility. And you're normally a 40-hour-a-week employee blue badge. But you want to try flex, where you, in my facility, you only have to work 30 hours a week. You cannot fall below 30 hours a week. So my question was, what if you don't have the time for me to get my 30 hours? Because you have to pick your shifts. And they said that has never happened, and they will address that when it comes up. Now, the one thing they did tell me is, it's all well and good for you to try to get the shifts you want. But if you can't get those shifts and they're unavailable, then you got to take something, because it's your job to make sure you work 30 hours a week. That is the minimum that you can get away with on flex, okay? And that means you might have to work a shift you don't like, a night shift, but they expect you to do something because that's what you signed up for. So you're going to have to, figure out a way to get your 30 hours in. At the end of every month, they count up your hours. And if at any week you did not make 30 hours, or from what I understand, let's say you do 25 hours one week, and then you add an extra 5 hours the next week. So instead of doing 30 hours, you do 35. For what I understand, that's fine. But at any time you don't average out to 30 hours a week, whatever time you're short comes out of your UPT. Okay, so you might want to keep that in mind. Now, as I said, you have to work 30 hours a week. The most you can work is 39 hours a week. You cannot work more than 39 hours a week. And everything over 30 is overtime, which I found very surprising. Now, here were the pros and cons for me. I'm not really computer literate. I'm not really phone literate. I'm not one of those people who carry my phone around in the back pocket, because I don't have a back pocket. I wear stretch pants, okay? And every week you have to pick your schedule for the week. And you don't pick a straight 8-hour shift. You pick shifts in increment times. Like for day shift, you would have to pick, in order for you to get your 30 hours, let's say you want to get it in 4 days. You only want to work 4 days because you still want to have 3 days off, because that's what I wanted, okay? You would have to try to find a 7:30 to 11:30 shift, which is 4 hours. And then you would have to try to find a 12 to 3:30 shift, which is 3.5 hours. That gives you 7.5 hours. And if you do that for 4 days, then that should come up to 30 hours. I did do the math earlier, but now I'm not so sure. But it will bring you up. Okay, let me see. Wait, give me a minute. Okay, yep, I was right. That will bring you up to exactly 30 hours in 4 days. Now, let's say those are the hours you really want to work, but they're not available. So now you're going to have to try to get that 4 or that 3-hour thing somewhere else. And they also offer 2-hour shifts on daytime. You could also, do some 4 to 6 p.m. shifts. So you basically can choose. You basically have 4-hour shifts, 3.5-hour shifts, and 2-hour shifts to choose from to build your 30 hours for the week. The problem for me is because I'm not really computer like that or phone like that, and all this is done on the A to Z app. I am pretty sure I would forget to do something, or I would do something wrong. And I don't want to have the idea of knowing I would have to do that every single week on my phone is enough for me to say, maybe this isn't for me. I just don't want to have to do that every single week. And so what I basically decided to do was, instead of going home at 4 o'clock on my last 2 days of my work week, because that's when I seem to peter out, just go to bed an hour early the last 2 days I work. And that seems to have helped a lot, so I can make it the whole 6 hours without feeling like I need to leave at 4. Because I just don't want to have my whole world depend on my phone like that. I just don't. So that is what Flex is from my information, and maybe that will be something that will work for you. So anyway, I wanted to share that. If I can think of anything else, I'll throw it in there. Oh yeah, this was the most important thing to me about Flex. When you are Flex, you still get full medical benefits that you got as a 40-hour a week Amazonian, which I think is amazing. Okay, just wanted to tell you that. Well, we got some more rain, but it doesn't appear to be windy. The truck awning is draining the way it should, so that's good. Woofy seems to be okay for now. But it has been rumbling. If it gets worse or there's a lightning strike, then we are definitely getting back into the truck. So we'll keep you informed. Oh, damn. Well, it's about 7-ish, and it looks like it's going to rain off and on until about 11. So in between, I decided I was going to light my fire since I bought all this wood. I think maybe I won't be cooking dinner over the campfire. I guess maybe I'll use the stove here under the tarp and fry up those hot dogs and heat up those beans. Yeah. I just love when a trip goes this well. So yeah, we'll come back to you, and we will get that campfire talk in. Okay, guys, I'm just going to give this to you quick and straight before I run out of grace with the weather and the bugs. He was a nice guy. I enjoyed dinner with him. He was charming. He was entertaining. He's about 10 years younger than me, and he was easy on the eyes. Those were the good points. The bad points were the moment I mentioned that I filmed for YouTube, he had that deer caught in the headlight look. He looked so scared that I never even brought up YouTube again. Also, by the time we got to the pub and he had a drink, and by the time he got through the second drink, I realized, or basically he just told me, that he lived with his sister, who was financially, doing okay, and she helped him get his finances together. And she doesn't ask him for a lot of money because she's okay. But in the meantime, he has a Harley and a truck. And I can't fault the guy. He's got a good game going on. But him and his sister aren't getting along, and so it appeared to me that he was looking for maybe a new situation. But it needed to have the same terms that his sister had given him. And the first thing he said when I walked up to him was, "Didn't you used to have a limp?" Oh my God, the occupational therapist was on the money, okay? And I said, well, only if I'm really tired or, I'm having a bad day. I said, but other than that, sometimes I don't. He goes, oh. He goes, well, okay. And so, when it's all said and done, guys, I think because when he met me, I had this limp. I think he had me pegged as maybe a homebody, somebody who was, stable and going to be around the house. And he seems to do a lot of things. And also, he has some dietary restrictions, just like I do, only he doesn't cook. So, between his sister cooking for him and helping him with his money and not asking him for much money, and now they're not getting along, it just seems to me that I can't offer him what he's already got. Um, and it seems to me that that's the thing he is looking for real, for real. So as far as us staying in touch, I doubt if that's going to happen. He already knows that I'm not the one, and I filmed for YouTube, like I said, that scared him. So that's how the date went. Now, if you ask me what I do want, one, I would like them to at least not be afraid of being outside, and not be scared crapless when I tell them that I film for YouTube. Okay, I'd like those two things. Also, I would like him to be working. Would not date somebody who was retired. I think I need the person to work just so they have an understanding of, when I get home at 7 o'clock, no, I don't want to go to the movies. It would be better if he worked full time, just like I did, maybe in a job that was strenuous, just like mine, so he would understand nobody wants to go anywhere when they get home from work. Okay, let's save it for the days off. I would like us to be on that same page. I would also like him to have his own place and be paying real bills, because the way I see it is, if I'm paying real bills and you're paying real bills and we decide to get together, then we can combine that money and get something really nice, and we'll probably both still end up saving money. But it's not my intention to float somebody so they can have their toys. And I don't know why he was so um, like I said, he never asked me, what kind of filming I did. Never. He just looks scared. My personal opinion is, if you would substitute the word sister for wife or girlfriend, I think that would have been a more accurate portrayal of his situation. That's how the date went. Okay? So I'm going to sit here until the fire goes out. Whoopi and I are going to go to bed. Good night. Good morning, guys. It is about 6:30 in the morning. I actually had to get up early because I got no prep done for leaving yesterday. Between the heat and the rain, I got no prep done, and it's going to take me a minute to get packed up, get organized, and get out of here. So I have to give you a rain check on those waffles, but I did manage to brew myself a cup of coffee. I just want to say this was a really good trip. Yes, there were challenges, but challenges equal growth and confidence. So there were some issues. I really did have a great time. But I will say, I am looking forward to that trip, that perfect trip where the weather is wonderful, the food does not burn, and the firewood doesn't get wet. I am looking forward to that trip so bad. But until it comes, I will continue to deal with the challenges and make the best of it. Because I'd rather do that than not be here at all. So thanks for joining me, guys. I'll see you in the next video. Stay blessed.